So when we do the focusing, we do maybe 5 minutes of the following. Then we go to the focusing. So we spend our time focusing on that area and be aware of our in and out breath to that point. And the length of that breath is the longer breath again. So we practice that focusing until in our sitting, we are about 70% of the time during our sitting with that focusing on that particular point. Wow, point or area, while being aware of our longer breath. So in this particular technique, we are developing both things. Mindfulness of the longer breath, as well as concentrating or focusing on a particular area, small area underneath our nostril. Well, that area or that point can be just 1 or 2 inches, away, wherever we feel is comfortable for us. Okay. After we've done that, we familiar that we move on to the third technique, which is called the settling. Now, the settling is similar to the focusing, but it is a bit more relaxing. Now that we have both developed concentration and mindfulness simultaneously, what we are doing now is trying to balance concentration and mindfulness and getting them to develop deeply. So what we do now is imagine an area about the size of the mouth of a monk, a circular area, which is about 8 inches or a foot away directly from our forehead, level with our forehead. Now that area, we put it in a place where it's comfortable for us. So it is at this, or it could be, at the end of a tunnel. If you find it convenient to visualize it that way. So now this focus area, which you have been practicing before, now becomes much bigger and higher. So we do the same thing as well again, while holding on to that area in front of us. We are aware of our in and out breath to that area. Now this in and out breath is still the same length, the longer breath. Now the longer breath, how do you determine if the breath is longer? So you can do it by counting in the beginning, when you're practicing the following, you count 1 to 6, the pace of counting is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And that's your longer breath, You get used to this longer breath. Become familiar with this longer breath. You know this longer breath because this is something that you use in your meditation. So in the settling, you stay with the area 8 to a foot in front of you, and then breathe in and out towards that area. You may not be able to do that in the beginning, But in the beginning, you learn to visualize that area, right? So long as you have a focus area in front of you, that is good enough. Doesn't have to be a wide area. Okay, so what we are going to do now is go through all these three techniques just to be familiar with them. It doesn't matter whether you can do the focusing or the settling. That is something you come to practice. What we are going to do here is teach you just the technique, right? So when you do your meditation at home, what you do is you do this walking meditation first. The walking meditation is very important. It settles your mind down, right? Your rough mind down. So in the walking meditation, we just do left, right, left, right, left, right. We walk about 12 paces or more, up to 35 paces. Then we turn round. We don't stop and turn round. It is our walking meditation is continuous. We do that for about half an hour minimum. And when our mind has settled down, then we sit down to do our meditation. Now we do that because we want to calm our mind down and so that we can enjoy our sitting meditation. We do not want to sit and fight with our mind. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of effort. It is frustration. So we get rid of our emotions or our thinking during our walking meditation. You can set our mind aside and say, yeah, I'm going to do my thinking after my meditation. I'm going to do whatever I want to do after my meditation. So you give yourself time dedicated to your walking and sitting meditation. Okay, so we're going to do that now. Now, in a sitting posture, you want to sit in whatever comfortable position, usually on the floor, you can do the half lotus or whatever sitting posture that is comfortable to do. So after you sit comfortably, you have to lean forward, pull your shoulders back so that there's a little hollow in your lower back. Open your shoulders, lengthen your neck. Imagine somebody pulling you by the hair. So your neck is lengthened and straight. Look horizontally. Close your eyes, of course, and then tilt the head 15 degrees below that horizontal. And let go of your arm. As you let go of arms, you let go of everything else. And pay attention to your breath. So we start with the longer following. As we breathe in, we follow the breath right down to the point, midpoint between the navel and the chest or the sternum. And follow the breath all the way out again. And follow the breath in. And notice the point where we change from the in-breath to the out-breath to see whether we pause. As we follow it out, we notice the point where we change from the out-breath to the in-breath. Not that because it's important, whether we pause or not, or how long we pause is not important. But we trick our mind into following the breath right to the end because we are going to notice the change at the end and follow the breath to the beginning because we're going to notice whether we pause between out breath and an in breath. You continue to do your longer of following. Follow the breath right down to that midpoint. Follow the breath out again in the longer of following. You breathe in through your nose. You breathe out through your nose. When you're breathing in, you're slowly sucking in the air. And you don't actually breathe out. You're just like a balloon, slowly letting the air out. And then slowly sucking in the air. Or you can imagine you're walking along a beach and slowly breathing in with your chest and breathing out, letting go of the air. Our object of meditation is the breath. Now we're going to switch to the focusing. Now imagine a small area underneath your nostril. Focus on that point. Using both your mind and eye, focus on that area first. You'll be able to focus on a small area. It doesn't matter whether you can see it or not, but if you know that your mind and eyes focus on that area, breathe in from that area the longer breath and breathe out to that area the longer breath. Now the focus is on that small area, and the mindfulness or the awareness is on the length of the in-breath from that area and the length of the out-breath to that area, which is the longer breath. So as you know, you are breathing in the longer breath and breathing out the longer breath to that area, then is counted as mindfulness of your in and out breath to that point. That's all you need to know. That you're breathing in and the breath is the longer breath. While your mind and eye is focused on that small point underneath your nostril. Can be a little bit further away depending on where it is, where it felt comfortable. So it is focusing, you focus on the area whilst being aware of your longer and in breath and out breath to that small area point. So in our practice, we continue to practice focusing until in our sitting, 70% of the time, we are with the technique of focusing, maybe 30% of the time, our mind may run away, and then we bring it back again. So when we're familiar with that, we switch to the third technique. It's called the settling. In the settling, we imagine an area about 4 or 8 inches away, a circular area. It doesn't have to be exact, you know. The area is about the size of a month. Or you can imagine a tunnel, the end of the tunnel, about that size. Once you're able to fix that size in front of you, size of the area in front of you, you breathe in from that area, your longer breath, and you breathe out to that area, your longer breath. So you spend your time initially creating this with your mind and your eye, and then be aware that your in breath is the longer breath, and your out breath to that area is the longer breath. So you keep at it. In learning this type of meditation, it's just like learning to ride a bike. You keep falling off. Right. So the main thing is continuing to practice until you become familiar or you become good at it. You cannot do it the first time, of course. Whatever you're learning, but eventually you become better and better at it and become proficient in it. You focus on that area in front of you and be aware that you're breathing in and out your longer breath to that area. So when you do the settling for some time, then when you're about to finish, you go back to the focusing. Let's focus on the area underneath the nostril. You do that for about 1 to 3 minutes, depending on how comfortable you want to feel. And then you move on to the following 1 to 3 minutes. And before you exit and go back to your normal breath. So we go in a particular way and we come out in the same way. It's just a good habit, that's all. Okay? So here I'm just teaching you the technique of doing this. So you have to practice it yourself. If you're not sure, you can always ask some Himanta. You've done it before. Okay.